game of like we need something going because right now all we're doing is taking contested threes and we're just passing the ball around and everyone is scared to shoot. And
Yeah,
those are
no,
the games. And
I
those are the games where you just need somebody who's not afraid of the moment. And a
yeah,
lot of times that's
irrational confidence, guys.
you need to like and this team look Marks and Atkinson the way and Vaughn and the way those guys coach is not for irrational confidence. This is not a team that's going to make Deion Waiters and J.R. Smiths superstars.
Yeah,
But today in the second quarter and in the third not in the third but in the fourth they could have used Crawford or Beasley. It would have really helped out.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I, I think they could have used a power forward.
Oh yeah,
I think they could have used, like I know that's the front office official number one thing to gripe about, and that's probably my fault. But I'm watching the Boston Philly game as we pod, and you know what's really making me sad about today? It's that the Nets can't beat neither one of these teams either, and it's for the same thing. Like Boston is a small team, right? But they have a safety valve in being able to go to Enes Kanter, right? Like
yeah.
now they're playing big, right? They have a big physical guard. Like he's not a normal player. The Nets don't have a smart on their team. And then you're looking at Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum is power forward size. He's a little slimmer. He's the sports car version of a power forward. Oh, Embiid is going to get hurt diving for balls like that. I highly do not recommend. Oh, he looked like a sack of potatoes. He looked like a large sack of potatoes that just landed on the court. Joel Embiid, I worry for you, my brother. But back to the point, the Nets can't beat either one of these teams. They're big, they're physical, they're versatile. I'm scared now, Sam. Give me something that was good that happened today that makes me help me feel better. Bring me out of the sadness, please.
Look, the only real positive I can say is that I think LeVert really showed that he could be a playmaker even when his shot and his moves aren't totally on. And I think the TLC experiment is the more consistent this run becomes, the more you can kind of say like, all right, maybe this guy's an actual rotation player. I don't know if I'm sold yet, like because I found so much of the pre-bubble to be so ugly that it's going to take a lot for me to get over that period, but
I want to believe.
But I do. Exactly. That's how I feel. I like the Sean Marks Reclamation Project, and so I'm interested about that. By the way, one side media comment which I'm curious about. So I went back and forth. Originally, I was watching on ESPN, and then I had to go to my man Ian and Sarah on Yes. I thought it was interesting that Van Gundy didn't really seem like he wanted to comment at all about Jacques Vaughn's coaching. He did once, I think, and I wondered, he always gets very sensitive about talking about coaches, right, especially after Shams wrote that he was one of the guys for the Nets job. So I'm curious, just as the series goes, how that's gonna go.
Yeah, I you know what? I don't think Jeff Van Gundy is a candidate, and if he is, the Nets can't be, fucking serious. Like, come on, like. I get it. He watches all the games. He's aware. But I couldn't think of someone who would clash more with Sean Marks. Like, I'm positive he's wondering what the hell is going on with these small lineups, especially since he's a 90s basketball coach. And that basically encapsulates the whole reason why it just can't be. Like, I don't have any information. I don't know anything. It's nothing that I've read. It's nothing that I can say I've researched. So when I say this, I'm saying this from just from the gut. I couldn't think of someone further away from what Sean Marks thinking would lead him to get as a coach. And but yeah, I think he's aware of the insinuations. I think he might get an interview. Maybe I guess you have to interview a few people. But I don't want to divert from the playoffs. But I kind of want to talk about this real quick. I'm scared of where this rumor comes from because usually I would go, it's Brian Break Windhorse talking shit, kind of trying to earn his check as an insider who knows things. Nobody tells Brian Windhorse anything, right? But Shams is, I feel like, is bulletproof. Shams,
he's locked in.
Shams is legit. Somebody real told him that was the case, that those were the people that were looking. And those guys look like owner candidates. I mean, you know what I mean by that? It's like an owner, like Jerry Sy, basically going, I'm not just going to give this guy Jacques Vaughn. Who the fuck is this guy? I'm not just going to give him the job. I want to interview some candidates. Who's out there? Jeff Van Gundy. Yeah, he was great with the Knicks. Like, you know what I mean? Like those are like owner picks those type of candidates. So if it's real, see, it usually, like, I would think it came from an agent. That wasn't an agent leak because it doesn't, showcase any one agent's candidates, right? So it's not an agent leak. So what it must be is those are the names that Jerry Sy leaked to the press that he was looking at. And I don't think that that's impossible. I think Jerry Sy is one of us. Am I saying Jerry Sy? Excuse me, Joe Sy.
I like Jerry though.
Jerry Sy. Shout out to Jerry Sy, who's one of our Twitter folks. Excuse me. So Sy, our owner, which now because of Jerry, I don't even believe I know what his real name is. He would be the person that had leaked that. So you're right. Now that I kind of come 360 in thinking about this thing, you're right. Maybe Van Gundy did get from a call from Sy's a recruiting agency and said, "Hey, Mr. Sy would like to interview you." And oh shit, you're right. I didn't watch the Yes version because I plan on watching the game again. And I said, you know what? I'll listen to Ian the second time through. So I watched the ESPN joint, and yo, you're right.
Well, I mean, look, we'll see. I mean, look, I think a lot of this is going to trickle out from whatever the. I think the two hot jobs are going to be the Nets and the Pelicans, and then we'll see. Look, the other name that'll come out will be D'Antoni, if this goes south quickly in Houston.
Another guy I can't see. I cannot. As I've been a proponent for D'Antoni in the past, I wouldn't now because I've come to realize you need a modicum of defense. You'll have insanely successful teams in the regular season, but just like the Phoenix teams, you're not going to make it playing in D'Antoni style. You need some defense. You need a strong defensive philosophy. And, I see the Houston getting eliminated again, and I don't understand why, looking at the landscape of what's out there. And that's what I think might be happening here. I think Sy could be looking at this whole situation like a fan does, right?
Yep.
And much more so than Prokhorov. Like Prokhorov basically might check in every quarter, like, oh, how they doing? Oh shit, they suck. Like that's how Prokhorov was watching the team. This is a basketball fan. Our new owner is a basketball fan, and he's probably looking at this and going, how the fuck is Joe Harris gonna guard Siakam just like we are, and he's probably thinking to himself, "Yo, what is this? Like, okay, we made it through the bubble, but I paid." And this is how rich guys think. Every single rich guy, especially super duper rich guy, because they're so attached with how rich they are, and that's just the reality once you get into that upper echelon of dollars. He's going, yo, I paid $140 million for that.
Yeah.
You know he's thinking that, even if he like, you mean to tell me I $2.2 billion for the team, or $2.2 billion for the team, another $2 billion, or even more than that. I can't remember the numbers anymore. But for the Barclays Center, and then he bought the Liberty too, and they're not winning either.
Yeah, I mean, look, the key. The key with him, and like a lot of people have made this point on podcasts, and I do think there's a lot of truth to it. The key with Sy, and so far he hasn't proved to be some like insane egomaniac, though. Given his position, given what he has, it's kind of hard to believe he isn't. But a lot of times these new owners like to make a splash, and so that's why it's kind of not surprising that the whole Atkinson thing kind of went the way it did, even though I think people like me and you, I think even me, who like was probably more of a fan than him, but still thought that the Atkinson thing had probably run its course more than what people thought. All I'm saying is it'll be interesting to see what Sy tries to do, because a lot of these owners like to make a splash when they come onto the scene
or restore order, like because
right.
they've been successful in their other businesses. This is really the first year that Sy's really in full control, so he might just be thinking to himself, it's time for me to restore order. This is crazy what's going on. We just signed Michael Beasley.
And you could say, look, the other way of looking at it is that Sy is a smart dude, and they haven't really done a lot of like – they haven't made any moves, minus these little moves that people like me and you are obsessed and upset about. He hasn't, like Marks. It's not like Marks has done like stupid shit like Billy King or Scott Perry, Steve Mills type stuff.
No, but Sam, does this game, and forget about the game, does this season feel icky to you? Right, I wonder how much does Joe Tsai have to do with Kenny Atkinson being fired? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but I think a rational owner, which I think he is, because I've been impressed with him so far, is going to be like, is going to be like, look, like. If you took the 8 best players, more or less, or let's say you took 8 of the 11 best players on any NBA team, and then made them sign another 7 guys off the G League, like their roster is going to be terrible and they're not going to be that good. And considering that, like if you say LeVert is the 3rd, Harris is the 4th, and Allen is like the 5th or 6th, whatever, best guy on the team, and then you look at all the guys who didn't come to all the guys who didn't go to Orlando, like I think to criticize like Marks or to make any decisions based off this roster is crazy, because this roster isn't a playoff team. If they had to play with this roster the whole year, they would have been in the lottery.
Here's where I disagree with you. This roster is just a byproduct of poor planning with the other roster. And there's a lot of it. There's a lot of mistakes that Sean Marks is making from my perspective.
Given like Dinwiddie, DeAndre, and TP are out because of COVID. Like,
well, TP, if I'm not mistaken, he just opted out, right?
I wasn't sure if he. I'll look it up. I'll look it up quickly. I thought it was like kind of a. But yeah, he also tested positive for it.
So he did test positive. Okay,
I don't know.
I just personally just believe that the friends of Kyrie just basically was like, you know what, coronavirus, whether I have it or not, I'm not trying to play.
Yeah, I'm dipping.
Right. You know, Wilson Chandler. So look,